How's it going, guys? Julian Smith here, Team Optimum Nutrition Athlete. We're going over legs today. We're gonna start with our quads, then we're gonna move on to hamstrings. 4 different exercises on each, but we're gonna be slowing things down, working on really good quality form, making sure that the muscles are actually doing the work and getting the most out of each rep. All right, guys, let's get started. We are kicking it off with sissy squats, 4 sets to failure. Just make sure before you perform this movement, you are fully warmed up. So this is as old school as it gets when it comes to quad training. It's pure isolation, and if you look at the full stretch when you're in it, it actually is very similar to a leg extension. Somewhere along the lines, people just decided that the knees over the toes was just bad for your knees in general, which is proven that it's just not the case. The way that you target your quads more than anything is making sure that your upper leg and torso are in line. So as you go down, you're stretching and pushing your knees down, but you're pushing your hips out. So when you come up, you'll feel that directly in your quads. Close stance barbell squats, we're gonna go for 4 to 8 reps on these. Still slow and controlled movement, but with your feet placement inside shoulder width, this is gonna be a quad dominant exercise. Not a lot of people have the range of motion or the flexibility to do something like this, so just make sure you got good form, start out light before you get into the heavier sets. A lot of people ask me about my mobility training, how I get so flexible. Really what I do is throughout my workout, I sit in the most mobility hindered exercise that I can think of, and that's basically the full extension of a sissy squat. What it does is it keeps me fresh for what I'm about to do and really prepares my body without even really doing an exercise for the exercise that I'm about to do. Seated quad contractions, 4 sets, 4 reps, 10-second holds on each. So with seated quad contractions, you are actually just sitting down, squeezing your quads as hard as you can. That's not to be confused with actually locking your legs out. That's what's gonna be actually putting a little bit too much pressure on your joints, especially around your knees. Flex your quads, don't lock out your legs, and just imagine that it's the same concept of flexing your arm, but in your quads. All right, guys, moving on to hack squats. 4 sets, 6 to 12 reps. So this is a quad dominant exercise. A lot of people, since you have the platform, just like leg press, you can put your feet wherever you want. We're gonna put our feet right at the bottom of the platform, heels together, toes slightly pointed out, and then as you drive up, you're gonna push through the outer part of your quad. That's gonna put a lot of focus on the outer sweep of your quad. The hack squat that I'm using today, the way that it was loaded up had a lot more weight on it than what I'm used to, so I went with no weight. That's something that everybody needs to realize when they go into the gym. All machines are different, all equipment's different. Make sure that you are using a piece of equipment that is working best for you for the 6 to 12 reps, because you might not need any weight to make this work best for you. So range of motion on these, I like to go as far as my body lets me. When I start coming down and my heels start to raise up a little bit, that's totally fine, that's part of the exercise. But if you literally cannot go down that far without there being pain or your lower back coming off the pad, then that's the range of motion that you need to stick to until you can develop a greater range of motion. All right, quads are done. We're moving on to hamstrings now. We're gonna start with toes elevated, stiff leg deadlifts, 6 to 12 reps. Toes elevated on this makes the hamstring lengthen even before you start the rep. So your range of motion that you would do prior to this without a board is gonna be a lot more. Putting the board under your toes is gonna shorten your range of motion, making the exercise more difficult. So looking around your gym to find something that's gonna raise your toes up, you can use a board, you can use a plate. Anything that your gym has to increase your toes by 2 to 4 inches is totally gonna work fine for this exercise. Moving on to reverse decline dumbbell leg curl. This is old school, this is before machines were around. We're gonna be doing 6 to 8 reps on these. So the setup on this is gonna be a little bit more difficult, especially when you're by yourself. If you're by yourself, you're gonna have to put your feet around the dumbbell handle itself, and your feet are what's gonna be lifting it up. If you have a lifting partner with you, the lifting partner can put the dumbbell between your feet, making it easy. The weight makes it difficult by itself, but you can actually change the angle of the decline to make it more difficult. If you're a beginner and it's more difficult right off the bat, you can go to more of a flatter angle, but if you want to be more advanced, you can raise the angle as much as you can to make a very, very steep incline, making the exercise much harder. Moving on to body weight hamstring contractions, we're going to be doing 4 sets, 4 reps, and 4-second contractions on each one of those reps. Similar to the quad contractions that we did previous in the workout, you're going to be doing the same concept on this. Instead of actually contracting for 10 seconds, you're going to contract your hamstring 4 reps and a 4-second pause on each one of those reps. When doing the single leg bodyweight hamstring contractions, you want to focus as if you were inside of a single leg machine, contracting up with weight on it. It's going to be a lot harder for people to find that mind-muscle connection where they're actually contracting the muscle, but slow it down and make sure that you squeeze as hard as possible when that muscle is fully contracted. All right, guys, we're wrapping up this hamstring workout. We're moving on to barbell good mornings. This is a meat and potato exercise. This is the squat of the hamstrings, and we're doing 4 to 8 reps. Barbell good mornings, I want everybody to think about this as like a stiff leg deadlift. Your legs are stiff, they're not locked out. It's the exact same movement for your lower body, but instead of you holding the weight's on your back as if you're getting set up for a squat. Lowering the weight down nice and slow, getting as much of a stretch as your body can handle, and then contracting up with a full range of motion. This is going to be something that you can easily fit into your routine. Quads and hamstrings are both hit equally. It's not going to be more quad dominant. It's not going to be more hamstring dominant. If you have any questions about this workout, you can find me on my Instagram, smith.julian, my Facebook page, Julian Michael Smith, or my website, thequadguy.com. For more free articles and videos from optimum athletes like me, go to Bodybuilding.com. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe.